We have most definitely entered into a very active pattern across the United States, with multiple storm systems running through our region throughout the week, and each one of them will bring plenty of snow. And that's not to mention all the wind gusts associated with these, and the frigid temperatures expected to fall in behind them. Hello, I'm meteorologist Brad Winter from Region Weather Live, your YouTube source for weather across the Dakotas and Minnesota. And we're here finally with the forecast you've all been waiting for. Sorry I've kept you hanging on for so long, but it's finally here. I finally got a video out. There's so much to talk about. We've got so many storms running through our region over the next few days. Plenty of snow coming, winds, dropping temperatures. Man, winter is definitely back with a vengeance. It's still February. Like I said, there's a lot to talk about, so let's go on and take a look. All right, and once again, we've got our precipitation prediction on the left screen, the wind gusts over here on the right. And basically what we've got going, we're starting off already with this forecast with the band of snow that's going to be moving across our area, across the northern parts of our area, particularly northeast North Dakota, northern parts of Minnesota, through the overnight hours, Sunday night and into Monday morning. Here we are right around 6 a.m. Sunday morning, and by 9 a.m. we continue to have this snow that moves across. We'll probably have some light snow in between this, but here we're going to look at a couple of heavier bands that looks like it's going to be moving eastward throughout the early parts of Monday morning. And as we take a look at the right screen, eventually what we're going to see falling in behind this is going to be some gustier winds. So we do have this cold front that is going to be sweeping southward. And right behind that cold front in particular, up in through here, we're going to be seeing some just a little bit stronger winds that are going to be dropping down to the south and east along with that cold front as it continues to move through our region. Now notice also out ahead of this, we do have some stronger southerly winds that could blow around and drift some of the snow that's out ahead of this storm system as it pushes eastward. Like I said, this is right around 9 a.m. on Monday morning. And by noontime, that cold front sits right in through there, but we still have some snow across northern parts of Minnesota, far northeastern parts of North Dakota as well. We have some gusty winds starting to push a little bit more into Minnesota, and then the stronger southerly winds as well. So kind of within some of these areas here where we're going to be seeing some snow, particularly north of kind of Highway 200. So anywhere we see some of these stronger winds push in, and we're kind of expecting the higher snowfall totals to remain right in through here. And so any kind of wind gusts that do occur in through there through the daytime on Monday will very likely create some blowing and drifting snow. Now also note with this, right around noontime, we do have just a little bit stronger band of snow that's moving across the north. And by 3 p.m., it looks like it reaches that Duluth area in through here. So even as that stronger band's kind of straggled to the south and east, even though we don't have a lot of wind in through here yet, perhaps some of those snow bands that do move through could be intense enough to drop the visibilities and also make the roadway slippery. Even though we don't have the winds necessarily for it, it does look like there is the possibility of at least a few stronger bands of snow that are going to be moving through northern parts of Minnesota throughout the day on Monday. Now by 6 p.m. on Monday, perhaps just a little bit stronger snowfall, a little bit moderate snowfall far in the northeastern parts of Minnesota. Some light snow stretches back just a bit yet, perhaps a little bit falling in the southeastern parts of Minnesota, as well as that cold front continues to sweep down to the south and east. And again, we continue to have these gusts 25 to about 35 miles per hour right in through there. And most of the snow is expected to basically fall, like I said, within this region in through here. So here you can see probably some blowing and drifting occurring up in the north. But don't discount some of this. This is strong enough down more in the central and southern parts of the state. There has been some snow down there recently. And so even gusts at 35 here with that snow that's falling within the last week or so probably will kick up some drifting and some blowing snow in some areas. So the roadways could become slippery already as we get into Monday evening. All right, and here's the expected snowfall now with that first storm system that's coming through on Monday. So we're looking at, I put a little stronger band right in through here, just north of Forks, perhaps including Bemidji as well, around 5 to 6 inches. It's possible that there could be just a little bit of a heavier band that runs through there through the morning hours on Monday. Otherwise, like I said, mainly kind of north of roughly Highway 200 and then kind of over to Highway 2 as well. North of that area, most areas, kind of the main band of this really are going to be expecting anywhere from that 3 to 5 inch mark. There is an area up and through here, kind of in that Two Harbors area, that could pick up a little more, maybe that 5 to 6 once again, maybe even 5 to 7 inches along the North Shore. And then otherwise, basically in the green here, we're looking at just a general 1 to 3. And then in the higher elevations, the Black Hills, 1 to 3, maybe some 4-inch mark up here as well. And as for the remainder of you here in the blue, we're just basically looking at perhaps a trace to 1 inch at best. Now that's just the first system. That's just the system coming through on Monday. We have another one that's going to be affecting parts of North Dakota, South Dakota, Minnesota, Tuesday into Tuesday night and early Wednesday morning. This next system that comes through and comes out of the Rockies is actually going to carry a lot of its moisture with it over the Rockies and into our region. You can see how that blue really begins to spread across the Dakotas and down into Minnesota. So this particular storm system carries with it all that moisture across the Rockies. So here we are Tuesday morning at 6 a.m. and all that moisture. Here you can see all that moisture coming across the Rockies and into our area, pretty much in the form of snow, perhaps just a little bit of rain mixed in across the northern portions of the Black Hills. But we also see with it just a little bit of gusty south-southeasterly winds associated with it. 25, maybe 35 miles per hour, going to help drift and perhaps blow some of that snow around as it begins to fall Tuesday morning. And by 9 a.m. that continues to move eastward out ahead of a kind of a warm front that kind of sweeps through our area. So just out ahead of it, we're actually getting some snow out ahead of this warm front that's moving through. And because of that, sometimes out ahead of these warm fronts, we get just these little slivers of moderate bands of snow that can move across. So we're going to be seeing, we could see the potential for some of you in through the morning hours, in through the Dakotas. I was just seeing those reduced visibilities down to a half mile as that moderate snow continues to kind of push eastward throughout the morning. Not to mention, we do continue to have those winds out ahead of it, 25, 30, maybe even 35 miles an hour. Noon time frame, that frontal boundary sits right in through there, and we continue to have the possibility, at least, of some moderate snow that continues to kind of push to the east, northeast, kind of from south central North Dakota down to the southeast into northeastern parts of South Dakota, perhaps just maybe slinking into that Buffalo Ridge area. And by 3 p.m. on Tuesday, again, perhaps just a little bit light to moderate snow right in through that region. Otherwise, that edge of the snow line continues to kind of push to the north and east as well as we go through the day. And note behind this, we do have some warmer air, obviously, with this warm front. So some of this could actually fall as rain around that 3 p.m. time frame on Tuesday down in southwestern parts of South Dakota. Now, the good thing as we go through the day, the wind gusts don't look to be quite as bad in through this main band of snow as it continues to push east. Like the gusts actually kind of diminish a little bit as it pushes eastward. But notice in through here, those isobars, those black lines of pressure in through here, are really getting tight, and of course that means some gustier winds in through western parts of North Dakota by 3 p.m. So any of you guys in through here who are getting snow, we're likely going to be seeing some blowing and drifting as well by this point. 6 p.m. Wednesday, that little bit more light to moderate snow now across southern portions of Minnesota. The edge of the snow band just kind of making it into Duluth. Gustier winds continuing across western North Dakota, perhaps into even central portions of North Dakota, blowing some of this snow around. And then on the back side of this, we have a little bit more cold air starting to punch in. So some of that rain down in southwestern parts of South Dakota will turn over to snow. By 9 p.m. on Tuesday, that light to moderate again kind of still sits into southern portions of Minnesota. We're also starting to see the back edge of this particular storm system as it pushes eastward. And also, once again, note, we continue to have those gustier winds across the Dakotas that will blow and drift around that snow as we get into Tuesday evening. By midnight, Tuesday night, early Wednesday morning, again, that back end continues to push eastward. We got that more light to moderate stuff still continuing down into southeastern parts of Minnesota by this point. We continue to have some windy conditions, some gusty winds that continue to push eastward, blowing around that snow again. So most likely those road conditions will deteriorate from west to east as this band, this little area of wind gusts continue to push eastward. And finally, by 6 a.m. on Wednesday, that last little bit of snow has moved out of the area with this particular disturbance. We continue to have wind gusts across a good portion of the region, and that's going to continue to blow around that snow and cause drifting and cause those roadways to be slippery. along with some of those visibilities very likely dropping down to a half mile in some of these regions as well. All right, snowfall with the second system, Tuesday through Tuesday night. We've got a band of 5 to 8 inches, all in the purple here. So for those of you up in Summit, Sisseton, kind of over to that Wilmer, Redwood Falls area, Glencoe, Hutchinson, just down to possibly Faribault and kind of that southern portions of the Twin Cities area, that looks like the greatest snowfall at this point with this second system. Now there is the potential that some of this could stretch just a little bit back to the north and west and then kind of get that Oaks and Ellendale area. And then perhaps just a little bit stronger band up here just north of Dickinson as well. Otherwise, kind of in this yellow region in through here, we're generally looking at around 3 to 6 inches anywhere within that yellow. So that does include that Dickinson, Bismarck, Aberdeen, Alexandria, Rochester, just kind of bordering Fairmont and Minot as well. You're kind of right on the line there for that 3-inch mark or so. And then for those of you here in the green, we're just generally looking at around 1 to 3 inches with this particular storm system as it moves through Tuesday and Tuesday night. For the remainder of you up here in the north and down here far in the south, just kind of a trace to 1 inch here in the blue. Now that's storm system numero dos. And unfortunately, we've got one more to go, and that one is going to bring the most snowfall. All right, now remember a little bit ago I said how that last storm system really pulled a lot of its moisture out across the Rockies and into our region. But with this last storm system, you're going to see moisture come pulling in out of the south and also get pumped into our region. And that's really going to feed a lot of moisture in and going to dump plenty of snow across South Dakota and southern portions of Minnesota. Now here we are back again Wednesday morning, 6 a.m. That storm system moving out. And here comes the next one quickly on its heels. Snow will begin to ramp up here as we get around that noon hour time frame on Wednesday, with perhaps even some light to moderate starting to show up already by this point across southern portions of South Dakota. Now also notice by this point we have some strong northeasterly winds already in place. So unfortunately, as the snow falls, we're going to be seeing some blowing and drifting already occurring with some reduced visibilities. Again, this is noon on Wednesday Central Time as we look at it right now. And by 3 p.m. on Wednesday, that line of snow continues to move across South Dakota, southern parts of Minnesota with that moderate snow possibly across southern portions of South Dakota. Still, we continue to have northeasterly winds possibly gusting to 40 here across eastern portions of South Dakota, southwestern portions of Minnesota. Once again, for those of you basically right in through this region, as that wind continues to push in through here, very likely going to be seeing some blowing and drifting snow and some reduced visibilities as we get into the afternoon hours on Wednesday. And then I think by Wednesday evening, things are really going to get interesting and really going to wind up quickly. Here we can see that snow pushing into southern portions of Minnesota. We've got that stronger band of snow right in through here that's going to push into southern Minnesota as well. We continue to have plenty of moisture working its way in by this point. We're starting to see some rain and some freezing rain start to nose in, possibly even some freezing drizzle down here in far southeastern portions of Minnesota. And then along with that, look at the winds really start to crank up across the James River Valley and across this ridge here, across the Buffalo Ridge, and just getting down into Sioux Falls as well. Look at those winds that are really getting cranked up 35, 40, even 45 miles per hour by this point. Conditions are really going to deteriorate fast as it looks right now with this particular model. At this particular time, as we get into Wednesday evening, 6 p.m., visibilities likely are going to drop quickly as we get into the evening hours. Things are going to become a mess. At heavier snowfall now across eastern portions of South Dakota and southern parts of Minnesota as we get to that 9 p.m. time frame. Those gusty winds following it as well, where we're gusting to 40, 45 miles per hour. So again, reduced visibilities, blowing, drifting snow, roadways becoming hazardous and slippery as we get into the nighttime hours Wednesday night. And that's not to mention, we still have 30 mile per hour winds across a good reach of our area And a lot of these areas already had some snow with the previous two systems. So even though you're not in the strongest winds, even you guys all through here probably are going to be seeing some blowing and drifting, at least reducing the visibilities a little bit and probably continuing to create some of that slippery road conditions all throughout here as well. Now by midnight, we've got a heavy band of snow that wants to move into southeastern portions of South Dakota. We've got that freezing rain that starts to move into southern parts of Minnesota, and we continue to have the winds all along with it. And so I would not be surprised, folks, if by this point, Wednesday night, sometime through the nighttime hours, Wednesday night into early Thursday morning, you're going to be seeing some blizzard conditions. You're probably going to see some blizzard warnings being issued somewhere across this region. Now by 3 a.m., according to this latest model, it continues to bring in this freezing rain and sleet across southern portions of Minnesota. Now that is just a little bit of a change from what we've seen in some of the previous runs with some of these models. Some of the other models just kind of squeaked that freezing rain and sleet just down to the far southeast. So it looks like it's kind of starting to push it just a little bit further north. And so that's going to make a difference, obviously, as to how much snow will exactly fall down there. Now, it might not make that big a difference because you're still dealing with freezing rain and sleet, and that's something you don't want either. So let's just put it this way. Anywhere down and through here, the roads are going to be a mess. We continue to see gusts of 40, maybe 50 miles per hour possible. And then by 6 a.m. on Thursday, continue to see that light to moderate to possibly even some spotty areas of heavy snow across parts of Minnesota, with still that back edge of that snow line reaching far into western parts of the Dakotas still. And then after that, we kind of got to switch to a long-range model, and I'm actually going to change over to the European model because that seems to have been at least the closest thing to what I think is going to happen. Now notice, like I said, this one doesn't have that freezing rain quite as far north as some of the short-range models, so it's going to be interesting to see what exactly does happen in these far southern counties here. But also note how it has this heavy band of snow down here as well. So no matter what happens, either you're going to be dealing with just really slippery roads from the freezing rain and the sleet, or you're going to be dealing with some heavy snows and reduced visibilities. And just either way, you're going to be dealing with a mess down there. By 9 a.m., we're kind of starting to get on the back edge of that heavier snow. Noon on Thursday, it looks like perhaps by this point, most of the heavy snow is gone. All we're left with is some light snow across portions of our region, but we're still going to be dealing with some strong northerly winds, still very likely going to be drifting snow, some blowing snow across this area still as we get to the noon hour on Thursday. And then finally by 3 p.m. and 6 p.m. on Thursday, most of that snow is out of there. The winds begin to slack off, and so it looks like as we get into Thursday night and Friday, most likely we're going to be seeing clearing skies and diminishing winds. Oh, but wait, unfortunately, here are the morning lows for Friday. These are actual temperatures being forecasted by this particular model. 20 to 30 below for low temperatures by the time we get into Friday morning. And these are the predicted wind chill values by this point. Now, mind you, there isn't a lot of wind with this, so just note here, even though we had actual temperatures of 25 to 30 below, it's going to drop it just slightly here as we're seeing 35 below or so, but still, either way, it's going to be very cold across the region by the time we get into Friday morning. And then just a quick look at wind chills one more time as we get into Saturday morning. Again, very cold across the north, but note we start to get a little bit of a warm up. Not quite as cold down here in the southwest, above zero. These are predicted wind chill values, and just a sneak peek at possible, it's out there a ways, folks, but possible highs as we get into Sunday. Not looking too bad. So it does rebound as we get into the weekend. All right, so I haven't shown you the predicted snowfall with that very last system. And I'm just going to say this first. It is a little ways out there yet. So what I showed you for Wednesday and through the day on Thursday, that's a little bit out there yet. So some of this could change, amounts could change. I'm going to narrow down where the heaviest amounts are going to be out of this. Just keep in mind as you see this next map, because this next map is crazy. Actually, the next two maps are crazy with the amount of snowfalls in with this. So, but just bear that in mind. Some of this is going to be adjusting. It is just a little bit out there a ways. And even some of those wind gusts are going to have to be shifted and adjusted either up or down. But nevertheless, this is going to be a very significant winter event as we get into Wednesday and Thursday. And so look at this. Look at all this red here across South Dakota, southern portions of Minnesota. 8 to 15 inches out of that last system. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Now, as I said, if that warmer air does push up a little bit further north and we get some more of that freezing rain and sleet down in through here, we'll notice this sharp cutoff here from that 8 to 15 down to kind of that 2 to 4 or less mark. Obviously, that purple and that yellow could actually shift up in through here if we get a little more of that freezing rain and sleet. But as I also said before, I mean, who really cares? Either you're dealing with freezing rain and sleet or you're dealing with some heavy snows. Either way, it's just not going to be very nice down there. But yeah, folks, that is just an awful lot of snow across a big region. And then we're looking at 4 to 8 here, anywhere in the purple. It knocks down to 2 to 4 here in the yellow. In the green, we're looking at a trace to 2 inches. So you can kind of see where that cutoff is for that last storm right in through there. But just a crazy amount of snow. And that's just out of that last storm system. So when it's all said and done, by the time we get Monday through Thursday, if everything works out the way it's looking right now, here's what the potential snowfall will be over the course of the week. And there you go, a wide swath of 15 to 25 inches, northeastern portions of South Dakota across a good chunk of southern Minnesota. So as we get in through Thursday, it's really going to be a mess in through here. A wide swath of 10 to 15 inches, folks. Look at that across pretty much all of South Dakota. Southern, probably, we'll call it the southern, 2/3 of Minnesota. And then for the remainder of you, 10 to 15 inches here in the yellow, 3 to 5 in the green, and just a little bit less up here in the far north, up there in the northwest angle, around 1 to 3 inches. Wow. That was a lot to cover. That was a lot of things going on over the course of the week here. And it starts off right away. So much to talk about, so much to cover. So thank you for watching this whole video. If you've made it through the whole thing, good job. Give yourself a pat on the back. You deserve it. But obviously you're wanting to know what's going on. So you've tuned into me. Thank you very much for being patient as I get this video out and watching and waiting to hear what I've got to say. I'm going to get these graphics out on social media as well. So make sure you check the social media sites that I've got listed up there. I'll have them out for Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. So check out the graphics. I'll probably have more as we go as far as timing goes for some of the snow. So make sure you subscribe or like or whatever. Just follow those pages up there. Hit the subscribe button down below. Going to continue to have updates throughout the week. Very likely going to be on having some live feeds going on as well. So make sure you hit the bell button so you know when I am on live. You want to be on here when I'm on live so you can ask questions. Please ask questions. I would love to have any questions because there is so much going on. So if you have something, if you're concerned about a particular area and a particular time, please ask questions and I would be happy to answer them for you. At the very least, give me a thumbs up that you appreciated this very detailed video. I would love to have you as a member. Please hit the join button down below. I would love to have you as a member. I'll put your name at the end of this video. I would love to have you there. Help support this channel. That's what we need. That's what we need out of this channel. So, all right, folks. So, I will try to get a video out Monday. I will try to get a video out and it'll be late Monday. I do have one more girls basketball game of my daughters that I got to go to. So it's going to be late Monday. It's probably going to be short. Just going to kind of touch on anything that's sort of changed along the way. And then as we go into Tuesday and Wednesday, I'll have the full updates. I'll have bigger updates, longer ones for you to take a look at as we get into that Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday time frame. So, all right. I'm going to sign off. This has gone long enough. For Region Weather Live, I'm meteorologist Brad Warner. Everybody, boy, have a good week if you can. Stay safe, stay warm. Make sure you plan ahead, and we'll talk to you next time.